Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Matthew here. Welcome to this video. So I decided to do something different, and that is to share live what I'm learning about money. And surprisingly, it took me 5 years to learn this about money. However, guess what? I got the lesson. And I want to share that with you because I realize that there are many people that are struggling financially. And this is also a part of me documenting my journey and just some of the thoughts that I had. So, when I first started working as an engineer, I thought that by becoming an engineer, I was going to earn a lot of money. And what I discovered maybe about 4 to 6 months after I started working as an engineer is that I wasn't going to get rich from that job. And the reason I wasn't going to get rich from that job is because of this statement. This is the statement that I used to believe, which is time is equal to money. I grew up hearing about that, time is money, and you got to go out there and put in the time to go make money. So, what did I do? I always utilize my time to go make money. But what I discovered is that this is a very false statement. And the reason why it's a false statement is because when I was in my math class, I realized that two things that are equal to each other have some type of similar value. And these time, which are time and money, are not equal in value. And you might be thinking, well, Matthew, how is that so? Well, if you, let's say, have 5 minutes, all right, and you say that is equal to, well, actually, let's make this more simple. Let's say you have 60 minutes. Many people that go to work for an hour and they get paid a certain amount of money, and let's say that that is worth $25 an hour. Well, these are not equal because there is somebody out there in the world who has these same 60 minutes, but they are getting paid $10,000 an hour. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to say 10,000. Let's just go up to 250. The same 60 minutes, somebody is earning $25 an hour, someone is also earning 250. That same 60 minutes, someone is earning $2,500. So what this calls for me to think is like, okay, how is it that I can get to the point not only to where I can earn this amount of money in an hour, $2,500, but how is it that I can always decide how much money that I end up earning? And what I discovered is that for me to be able to earn that much, here's what I had to do. I had to learn a skill set. Now, the very first skill set that I started to dive into, which I really, really enjoy, that is trading. Now, here's the thing about trading. Trading is very high risk. However, it's also high reward. Very high reward. Now, the thing that I really liked about trading was the fact that I could earn a lot of money in a very short period of time. However, I had beginner's luck when I first started, and I didn't realize that I could also lose the money just as fast, if not faster, than I made it. Now, this is what led me to say, okay, for trading, what is it that I need to be successful in trading? The first thing is I need capital. And you may have thought about getting into trading, and specifically I was trading Forex. And the reason why I traded Forex is because the market's open longer than the stock market. I didn't like the fact that the stock market opened and closed, open and close, open and close, which I'll talk about in another video of Forex trading versus stock and trading or stock market trading. But you need capital. So the next thing that I realized, not only did I need capital, but I also needed this P word. I needed to be patient, all right? And because I was trading, making money, withdrawing money, once I withdrew the money, you have to pay taxes on that money. Not only do you have to pay taxes on that money, now you also are living off of it. So I would go and earn my profits, but then I would have to withdraw all the stuff that I made so that I can live. And that didn't allow for me to hit this third C, which is compounding. When you're trading, the objective is to have your money grow and compound over time. Now, one of the biggest things about trading that many people do not really tell you, which I learned, is the fact that trading is really about probabilities. It's about probabilities. And the reason why it's about probabilities is because there are some common things that happen in the market over and over and over again. But if you don't know that and you're approaching the market in the wrong way, you're going to lose a lot of money. And that's why many people think that trading is a scam, because they weren't properly educated about how to trade. And that was the first thing that I learned. So I said, okay, if I'm going to be trading, I need capital, I need to be patient, I need to compound. Okay. So now I'm like, now I have this skill set in my tool bag. But then I started to read some books, and I started listening to people like Myron Golden, Alex Hormozi, and a few other people, Russell Brunson. And one of the things that stuck out to me is they were talking about this word right here. They were talking about systems. So what is a system? And I actually put this in parentheses, but they said that a system is saving yourself time, energy, and money. So I'm like, okay, how am I going to be able to do that? And what I started to do is I started to go out and purchase courses. Now, there's nothing wrong with purchasing courses. However, here's the downfall to purchasing courses. I thought that I needed to learn something else, and I needed to learn something else, and I need to learn something else. So what that caused me to do, which I did need to learn something else, but what it caused me to do is say, okay, let's say I bought this course, and let's say this course was $297. I finished the course. Then I said, okay, well, let me go to the next course because now I need to do this. Now it's another $297. I'm like, okay, man, I got all this knowledge. Let me go buy another course because now I really need to know what it is that they did. $297. Oh, man, then they said they got this little thing that I need to know, so let me go buy this course. And then I kept going and buying courses. Now, some of these were $297, some of these were $497, some of these were $997. And over the past 5 years, I have been purchasing courses. But the downside of purchasing courses is you are not going to learn everything from either reading a book or watching a video of somebody doing it. If you're going to purchase a course, which there's nothing wrong with purchasing a course, going to a seminar, webinar, whatever, but you need to, and this is what I realized, I needed to take action. And not just a little bit of action, I needed to take massive action. Now, this is what I discovered. You can go purchase millions of courses, but if you never take the action, you're not going to have the success that you want inside of life. The reason being is because there are things that are going to happen as you are doing the process that you are not going to learn or even think to ask or even think to know about until you start to take action. Let me give you an example. When I first started cooking, I would go and I would turn the stove on high. And when I would turn the stove on high, I said, cool, now this food's going to be able to cook faster. That's what I thought in my mind. I'm 9 years old. So I go, I have the stove on high, I season the chicken, whatever it is that I'm cooking at the moment, I go put it in the skillet, then all of a sudden what happens? About a minute later, the house starts smoking. Why? Because I'm cooking the food too fast. As I started to get older, I said, and as I started to get more mature in cooking, I said, it's okay for me to turn the stove up on high. However, when I'm getting ready to cook, I need to turn the stove down. I can turn it on high to have the pot or the skillet heat up faster, but what I need to do is I need to turn it down, especially depending on what it is that I'm cooking. Maybe I'm sauteing onions. Okay, it's okay for me to have that a little bit high because I want to saute the onions kind of fast. But if I'm cooking something like a steak or chicken, I need to turn it down a little bit lower. Why? Because it's going to cook more on the outside than the inside, and that's really what matters. So, or even let's say with rice, you don't want to cook rice on high, you'll burn it or overcook it. So that is what I discovered with purchasing courses. And purchasing courses is not bad, like I said. Even over here, I got plenty of books. I got .com Secrets trilogy, which is .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, Traffic Secrets. Then I have Alex Hormozi's books. Then I have mindset books. Then I have how-to books. And all of that is fine. There's nothing wrong with those books. But what I discovered, which actually is coming back to me from Russell Brunson's book, is these books should be used as a reference. You're not going to learn everything until you go and start putting action in. And what do? You go back and you put in the work of studying the book. So use it as a study book and not just as I read this and I know it. You got to go back there and get in the trenches. Now, the last thing that I discovered, because I was purchasing so many courses, and I always had this idea that I wanted to be rich. So as you can see, yes, I needed to learn a skill set. I needed to understand that time is not equal to money. So once I understood those concepts, here's the one that I'm on right now. If you really want to be rich, this is what you have to do. And this is really the starting ground, which is where I'm at right now, and that's learning how to manage money. You have to manage money. Now, what is the difference between managing and budgeting? Here's my definition. Many people may not think it's right, but that's not their idea or whatever, it's mine. So the difference between managing and budgeting is like this. You have, and I'll use a green marker. You have money coming in. Now, when you manage your money, you say money's going to go over here, money's going to go over there, money's going to go here, money's going to go there, money's going to go here. So we have these boxes where money is going to go. Now, when it comes to budgeting, you will say, okay, I'm only going to spend X amount in this box. I'm only going to spend X amount in this box, X amount in this box, X amount in this box, and X amount in this box. That is budgeting. So management comes before budgeting. So what budgeting or managing is giving your money a place to go before you get to budgeting. So let's say that this right here was for rent. Let's say this right here was for groceries. Let's say that this was for entertainment. And then let's say this was personal care. And let's say this one was fun. And you can have many other ones. You can have investing, education, and a lot of different ones. But let's say that, for instance, when you send money over here, you're going to say, okay, I'm only going to spend 1,500 on a specific apartment. So when you go look for an apartment, you may put more money over here. Let's say that when you have this money come over, let's say that you're putting $2,000 a month over here. Or dang, that's not $2,000 a month. So let's say that you're putting $2,000 a month over here. Well, if you're putting $2,000 a month over here, but you're only spending 1,500, this is your budgeting. So you should have 500 left over. And that's where your budgeting comes in place. You're saying, I'm only going to spend X amount of dollars on renting or on an apartment or on a mortgage. When it comes to groceries, okay, let's say that you end up putting, let's say $250 over here. Well, if you end up putting $250 over here, well, I'm only going to spend, let's say $225. $225 is going to be my max spending, and that's budgeting. So when it comes to your money, what I've discovered, and I'm not going to say your money, but when it comes to my money, what I've discovered is that I have to be a good manager. I have to manage every cent, every single penny. And what I started to do is, one, I went down and I said, okay, what do I absolutely need in my life that I have to pay? That may be rent / mortgage. That may be car. That may be phone bill. That may be internet. That may be groceries. And then whatever else, okay? So what is it that I absolutely need to live? Now then, what other people do, which I have sometimes, is you have wants. But the thing about your wants are, you can't let your wants get out of hand. What do I mean by getting out of hand? Many people want to have streaming services. Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple, Stars, BET Now. They want to have all of this stuff. There's nothing wrong with having all of those. But you want all 6 of those when you're only going to be able to watch one at a time. So having all 6 of those is not really beneficial to you. Now, can you have maybe 2 of them? Yes, having 2 of them is fine. Why? Because it's a want. You like watching shows. But I had to go and take an assessment of this because I was one of those people that had like 6 streaming services, and I went and I said, okay, what streaming service has the channels or has the shows that I want to watch or the movies I want to watch the most? So that's what I did. I did an analysis. Once I saw which ones I want, I took it down to 2. Then eventually I took it down to 0 because I wanted to learn more about money. So instead of watching a lot of TV, I would just watch YouTube videos from the podcast and different things like that, and I would read books. So that's when it comes to want. Now, when it comes to needs and wants, you get your number, and what you're going to do now is you got to go and calculate what your income is. Now, once you have what your income is, then you have your needs. So your needs are going to be considered expenses. And you can even say expense 1, which is what I call this. And then you can even say expense 2, which is what I call this one. And you add expense 1 and expense 2 together. And then that's when you're going to have your income minus expenses. So I'm going to say expense 1 plus expense 2. And then that is going to give you your cash flow. Well, not your cash flow, my bad. That's going to tell you what your financial, which basically is cash flow, statement is. So now that you have your financial statement, now you can see what your cash flow is, which I learned that from Rich Dad Poor Dad, which you have your income, your expenses. This down here is called a balance sheet, which is assets, liabilities, and your cash flow. Let's say your job right now, you have money coming in and it's going right out. And the goal that I'm working on, because I realized I had money coming in and coming out, what I'm learning is I need to start using some of my money, which is why you want to manage your money better. Because then when you have money left over, you can start seeing how you can purchase assets and multiply your money. Because now you have assets that's also bringing money in, and then you use the money from your assets to pay for your expenses, and then you end up home free. So this is basically what I ended up learning in the past 5 years. It took me a while to really understand that this right here is the foundation. It starts with this. You can go and, well, actually, the first step, which is what we talked about first, is mindset. Then once you have the right mindset, now you can go into managing your money. And once you're able to manage your money, now you're able to buy other things like assets that are going to produce money. And when it comes to assets, assets are things that are going to put money into your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. And we'll talk about that in another video, but I wanted to just come and share all this with you because I found that it may have been valuable for you. I was just sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I actually come a long way over the past couple of years, over the past 5 years, and I really just wanted to, I guess, document this on this journey because right now I'm in the management phase of learning, okay, where can I put my money to be able to grow and even protect my money. So I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you would like for me to talk about a specific topic, go ahead and put that down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one.